So we are just about at the Mudro entry. A big, this has been a fun day because I had to go back into Ely because my tire, thank you, I have arrived. So here we are at the Mudro entry point, but yeah, my problem was that I ran out of, or no, my problem was as I was driving here today, my low tire alarm came on my car. So I had to drive all the way back into Ely in order to put air back into my tire. So that makes me nervous. I filled it up and then I bought one of those tire, you know, flat tire things, cans of spray. So I brought that, but I have no idea why I had, and it was like 10 pounds low. It looks to be holding right now, but again, that was an issue. So plus it's rained and not the best start to the day. I'm about 2 hours behind where I wanted to be, but we're here now and we're gonna get into the Mudro entry point. We're off. Let's see how this goes. You can see there's a few sprinkles in the air. We're on this little river that leads into Mudro. Last time I was on this, we had to get out and pull on a couple of spots, so I'm anticipating that may be the case today, although the water is a little bit higher. So we'll see how it goes. This creek, so we're paddling here, and straight ahead is the campsite, the only one on Mudro Lake. I still have not decided which direction I'm going to go. I'm starting to think I'm going to head towards SandPit Lake. I want to go to Tin Can Mike sometime, and I wouldn't mind trying Jackfish Bay. So I may head to Jackfish Bay today. The winds are really calm, and Jackfish Bay is like a big lake, but it's one I've never been on before. So being that we have calm winds for the next couple of days, I may go hit that bigger water. But once we get up to this campsite up here, I'll have to make my decision. Portage that goes into SandPit Lake. I've taken this once before. It's like straight up, so it'll be a tough one. It's like 80 rods, so it's not terrible, whatever. And again, I'm on a solo trip today, so I can literally take as much time as I want. Kind of a rocky landing here, but we'll do fine, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side without a broken hip. That would be awesome. All right, we'll see. I don't know if I can flip this thing upside right or not, but we'll find out. So we are starting our portage, 80 rods, and it goes into SandPit Lake. Let me see, how long is it gonna take me? It's 5 to 10. So it took about an hour to get here. We'll see what she brings. All right, we are fixing this. All right, right now I am on SandPit Lake. And I think I'm going to Basswood. I'm going to Jackfish Bay and Basswood Lake for a couple of different reasons. It's like 90 degrees today. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm on a solo trip, and you've heard me say this before. When I'm on a solo trip, it's all about me. I can do whatever I want, and I don't really necessarily want to portage another bazillion rods to get someplace else today. So I am going to make it. There's some campsites. Now, this is a motorized part, but you know, I don't care. And I think the reason I'm going this way, you know, this permit, today is Tuesday, and the permit, I picked up this permit on Friday, so like 3 days to plan this trip. And so I didn't do a lot of planning on it. And quite honestly, I wouldn't normally take this trip, but because I've been on every single one of these lakes around here, horse, gun, boot, ferry, angleworm, down to Treese, down to Hagman. I've been to all of them. So Tin Can Mike, I've been here, but I've never been to Jackfish Bay. So you know what? I'm gonna go to Jackfish Bay, spend a couple days there. I'd like to go up to the upper Basswood Falls. That's a place I haven't been to. Maybe take a day trip down to Pipestone, some of those areas. It all depends on the wind, because Jackfish Bay is huge. So, you know, it can get windy pretty quick. So we'll just get out there and see what we're doing. But I have to go through the Range River in order to get there. And there's a couple portages there as well, but it's a place I've never been before. So we are headed now to the Range River. We've now hit the Range River on our way to Basswood Lake. Got in at a beaver pond. Looks like there's a couple portages, maybe a couple beaver ponds to pull over here. I don't know, but we'll find out. And I think the map shows it's at least a mile, maybe a little bit more than that into Jackfish Bay. Paddling across Basswood Lake for a little over an hour. We have hit, we've passed the portage into Pipestone Bay, and now I'm coming up on an island where there's supposedly a campground. Or should I say a campsite? There's no campgrounds. I guess whatever. So we'll take a look and see if this is where we want to park it for the night or for the next 2 days. Been paddling about 4 hours and a half or so. Got a blister on my thumb. Don't know how that happened. I'll put gloves on. But this island that's just off to my left here, I think has a campsite on it. So, no, it's not this one. It's the next one over. It's this one over here. Oops. There's islands all over around back here. So, I'll paddle over there. Found a campsite on an island on the north end of Jackfish Bay. So we're gonna set stuff up. Quiet out here now. I saw one group of campers just when I got into Jackfish Bay from the Range River. And then there's another island way down in the south end that I paddled around, and there was two people coming in a single canoe. It looked like they were headed that direction. I wanted to get up farther north. So that's all I've seen today, whole day. Haven't even heard anything. Good day. All right, going to show you my camp. This is on Basswood. Got the canoe landing over here. Went and got my water, pretty tannin colored water. You can see out there, this is an island site. I put up this cheap bug net that I ran and got it on Amazon, but it's going to work as my tarp as well in case it rains. It was cheap. Might fall apart right away. We used it in one night when we were on Alpine, but yeah, we'll see how this works, huh? Got a mess in there. Then we come back here, and here is my hammock. So this is all ready to go for tonight as well. Here's the hammock. I probably will actually stay here 2 nights because tomorrow I want to just go do some road tripping. And then Thursday night I'll move somewhere else, I think. So, there's a pretty big hill here. I have not found the bathroom yet, but I have not looked either. Just walking to the other side of the island. Quite a few rocks up here. Looks like this has been used a bit. Here's a few trails. Here we're looking out to the other side of Basswood. I think we can come here and watch the sunset tonight. Here we are. I can grab my chair. It's like 90 degrees today, so it's really hot. We came from where I paddled was around that corner farther than what you can see. That's how much of the lake I covered today. You can barely make out the island that I was looking at camping on a while back. So, all right, we're gonna go try to find the bathroom. Aha! Found it. That's what we were looking for. The throwing. Cool. Here we are. We're having pad thai from Right on Trek.
Friday, sunny, hot with highs in the upper
And I bought peanuts with it as well.
Friday night, mostly clear. Lows around 60.
So there we go.
Mostly sunny. Highs in the low.
Well, day 1 is done. I have had a good day. We have a bit of a campfire going right here. Bit of a campfire going. We're just going to, now we're just gonna boil some water so I can wash up for the night. Totally quiet, still really warm. Bugs are so-so. I've had worse and I've had better. But yeah, so I picked this island. This is good. I don't know what I'm going to do yet tomorrow. And again, I don't have to know. One of the things that's bothering me is just this tire going low on my car that caused us to be late this morning. So I may go back a day early just because what I don't want to have happen is have a flat tire come out on a Saturday and not have anybody around to be able to help me out on that. So Friday's a business day, and I'm guessing I could find somebody in Ely if the tire is flat. So yeah, kind of kicking that around. That's still 3 nights here, and I'm actually coming up again next Thursday, so in just a little over a week for another couple of days. So we'll kick that around. I don't know if I'm going to hang at this site here tomorrow or not. I want to go do some fishing, just some exploring around here. There's a chance of some severe weather coming in, so I don't know if I want to get too terribly far away from my campsite, but we'll kind of play that by ear. So I can tell you here on Jackfish Bay, which is part of Basswood Lake, I saw one canoe paddling and one occupied campsite, and that was it. Nothing else. Not a motorboat, not a canoe, not another person. It's been really quiet. So that's been really pleasant. Well, we had our breakfast. It's a beautiful morning here in the Boundary Waters on Jackfish Bay. Made a decision today, as much as I honestly think this is the best campsite I've ever been on here. I'm going to leave it and paddle to a different one. Mostly because I like to do these kind of trips where you roll. I would love to be at this. I can come back someday. But next week I'm going to be coming up again with a couple of friends, and I'm fishing for a couple of days and nights, and we'll base camp on that one. And then I base camp back in May, and Ryan and I made a couple of different camps. So when Paul and I go in the end of this, all packed up and ready to go. Gonna leave this campsite. Broke my glasses, so not only do I have flat tires, but now I have broken glasses. But taking a break behind an island here. Whew, getting a drink. It's a lot windier than I thought it was going to be today. So on a big lake like Basswood, when you're at the back end of the wind, wind's coming from the south. I was at the north end, and we're talking about, you know, whatever, a number of miles from one end to the other. By the time the wind gets down to the end of the lake, they're pretty good. I've been fighting the wind pretty good. Big waves, big enough that they're splashing over the bow of my boat. So that's kind of cool. So I'm about halfway to the portage. I'm not going to camp on this lake again. It's just too windy today. So I'm going to head towards Tin Can Mike, and yeah, might as well start paddling. Here we go. I'm using my kayak paddle. It's because I could push more water. The purists will have a fit. You can see there's a few white caps up here. I'm trying to quarter these the best I can. I mean, I've definitely been through worse, but this is kind of stuff, if you're not paying attention, you will get wet, or you'll tip your boat. So as I'm paddling, I'm on SandPit Lake, and I just look off to the side. Here is some evidence of some old logging material from the early 1900s. There's spikes. I'm going to back up here. Hold on. So I don't know if you can see that. But there are spikes and wood poles, and yeah, I don't know what that was there. But if you take a look, you can see in the water that the poles come down there, and then they cross here. There's spikes driven into it, and then that big metal contraption that goes across. So it's kind of one of the fun things you get to see when you're out here, just out of the middle of nowhere. Some contraption that they use for logging. It looks like a big skid or something. I'm in a pretty narrow spot. Maybe it's something that just went part of a bridge. I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of cool. We've hit Tin Can Mike. This is the lake that Ryan and Tommy caught 2 of the biggest bass they've ever caught. Back, that was during a fire ban. Way over there, there's a hill. You might be able to see the rock face. That's a campsite. I'm just going to float by it and take a look at it, but I'm probably going to head into either Horse or Fourtown Lake, just because I've never camped on them, and I have camped on this lake before. So it's a hot one. There's bluegills swimming all around here, so I could do some supper if I wanted to. There, I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're in there, so that's fun. So as we're paddling on Tin Can Mike, I saw just that one group of people still camped at Basswood, and then another group coming into Jackfish Bay, and I've seen like nobody since then. So there was nobody in SandPit. I've crossed nobody, and here I am in Tin Can Mike, and it looks wide open too, which just makes me concerned about what things are going to look like once we hit Fourtown, which is really kind of the highway. But it's just, I've never camped there before. Fortunately, I'm solo, so I can camp wherever I darn well please, as long as it's an open site. I'm not too picky. I'd like to set my sights on Horse Lake, just because, like I said, I've never camped there before. We just kind of went through there. Oh, we made it through the portage into Horse Lake. That's what we got here. A couple of campsites on this lake, and there's also you can also get into Fourtown from here. So it's 1:30. If I see a campsite I like now, I'm going to take it. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on moving. We'll see what happens. Well, I made it. We made it into Fourtown Lake. We went a long ways, and we found a camp. So I'm already all set up. Just putting the finishing touches on it, then I'm going to have dinner. See, it's kind of nestled away back here. It's right on a portage and a rapids, but that's okay. And tomorrow, I'm going to go someplace else. But here we are. How's this for a view? That's what I got going on. Right out on a nice windy point, keeping the bugs down. And there's Fourtown Lake. Storming pretty hard here. I got a group of 3 that came through in the middle of the storm. 3 young men. They're going to camp on my spot because it's really not safe to be out there.
It was partly sunny with a temperature of 73. Across the rest of northeastern Minnesota, rain was falling with a temperature of 65 at Pickering and 75 at International.
Day 3. Beautiful day. Had a great night last night. Big story we'll talk about with the boys who ended up in the camp. I didn't spend a lot of time doing that last night. We had a pretty good storm, rain and wind, and 3 guys showed up at my campsite and spent the night here, so that was fine. Just enjoying a sunny day today here on Fourtown. I think today I'm just going to take a day and have fun, sit around camp, read a book. If I get ambitious, I'm going to go out and fish, maybe go look for some blueberries today. This is where I'm camping. Gonna stay here another day. That's Fourtown Lake. Decided to go for a paddle. Broke my glasses again, so now they're in two spots. Thank goodness for duct tape. I'm gonna go see if I can find some blueberries or some firewood or something. Paddle around this lake and explore it. Getting to a place where there was a fire a couple of years ago here on Fourtown. You can see the forest is starting to reclaim itself. I'm going to take a walk up onto the shore here just because I want to. I'm kind of at the, not at the north end. Almost at the north end, almost the middle of Fourtown. It goes a little bit farther south. I've only seen one campsite occupied, which from everything that I've heard on this lake is incredible. My site and then the one right next to it, but I haven't seen anything else to the north that had anybody in it. I saw one of the canoe paddling out. They were coming from, I think that's Gun Lake or Boot Lake, whatever it is. But that's it. Nice quiet day out here. Oops. Get up and explore. Just a random place that I could park the canoe. I was just floating along and came across this flat space here. And something caught my eye. It's flat, it looks like it was built up. That's Hylex. Guessing that was left here from the olden days. Bugs are bad. I don't know. Well, just stopped by on the shore where I saw some blueberries. You can see them or not. I ate a bunch, not enough to bring home, but enough to share for myself for lunch. So that was fun. They're all over in here. This is a cleared out space. I don't know why. There's just brush and not a lot of big trees. That's a good lunch. This is coming into my campsite on Fourtown. There's a falls that you have to portage around, but it's not listed as a portage, which is just odd. I don't think you can run that little, it's just a rocky ledge. So this is cool. Lots of people that come up here get really antsy around other people, and I'll tell a story in here about the 5 canoes and 12 people that pulled up onto the portage that I was trying to get through and were kind of nasty. But that being said, so last night those boys came through in the storm, and I basically told them, I'm like, look, I'm old enough to be your dad, and it's nasty out, and I know there's no campsites over on Horse, so just stay here. And they were real grateful for that, and thanked me, and it was good, and I had a nice little chat with them. Didn't talk to them too much. Well, then later today, I made my trip around, and as I'm coming in, there was somebody parked at my campsite just coming up to take a look, and it was a guy and his daughter, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, this is your campsite. I'm like, no, I'm all good. There's a portage that runs through here. You're fine. And, you know, he says, I just want to see what it looked like. Anyway, we chatted for quite some time. He's from Two Harbors, and he ended up, I guess he owned the greenhouse in Two Harbors and just retired recently. And his daughter is on the St. Louis County Search and Rescue. So we had a nice chat, 15 minutes or so. And I'd mentioned to him that, yeah, I broke my fishing rod, second one in the Boundary Waters this year that I broke, and this one was just stupid on my part. But and he's like, oh, well, do you want a walleye? We have more than we need. And he says, but we didn't want it. The last one we had hooked bad, so we had to keep it. And I'm like, well, of course. So tonight I'm eating walleye, courtesy of some folks camped on the other side. And then just a little bit ago, somebody was coming from Horse. It was a dad and mom and 2 daughters. They're from Woodbury, I found out. Well, like I said, you got a portage around this. You can line it and walk up the creek, but you know, I watched people do that yesterday. It's not good. So I invited him up, and we chatted for a little bit, and he told him about the campsites that I'd seen open, because I floated all of Fourtown today, and had a nice little chat and just talked for a little bit. And I'd mentioned I was having walleye because somebody had given me one, which was kind of cool. I said, because I broke my fishing pole. He says, oh. And anyway, they were going out, and just as they're leaving, he comes back in. He says, hey, do you still have your reel? And I'm like, yeah. He says, well, I brought extras, and this is just a cheapie that I got, but you can have it. To which I said, you got to be kidding me. And he said, no. So I have a pole, so I can go fishing tonight. So the goodness of 2 people that you're just talking about, you know, just stopped by and had a chat with, and you were nice and pleasant to them, and they did good. So thank you to the guy in Woodbury, and thank you to the guy who used to own the greenhouse in Two Harbors. Appreciate it. What I did is I took the fish that those nice people gave me, and then I put it into the Camp Chow single cheddar wild rice soup, and I'm thinking it's like a homemade fish chowder. So we'll give her a try and see what we learn. Wild rice fish chowder. You know, somebody once told me there are things that you'll eat in the Boundary Waters that you'll never eat anywhere else. They're true. So they have to do a portage on the way through. Now these nice people actually asked me about my YouTube channel, so if they get a chance to see it, I'm going to record them and they can see themselves, which is always kind of fun. There they go, they're bringing it on out. And that's how you lay a canoe down. I don't know if you can see this. That right there is wild rice soup with fish. And it is creme de la creme. Except I just lost my spoon. All right. Final day here on Lake 4. Lake 4. Final day here on Fourtown. It's about 7:15. I've already packed up for the day. Gonna head back this morning. Apparently I got a super killer portage ahead that we will anticipate. I've never been on this portage before, but it's 140 rods. Multiply that times 16 feet if you don't know what that is. But 140 rods, and it's an ankle breaker, I guess. I've always come out through Tin Can Mike, so well, I've only been here a couple of times, so yeah. So we're getting ready to go do that before it gets too hot. I'm packed up early, partly for that reason, so I can take my time on that portage. Also, I'm back up here next Friday, so today is Friday, so 1 week I'm coming back up for another trip with some of the guys, so I'm gonna head on out and maybe see my grandson. See you on the way. Here's the first of the goat portages.